The latest fake space mission by NASA, Artemis 2, the so-called moon mission launch. Not an actual moon landing mission. Just basically a flyby. What a complete joke this is, considering NASA supposedly put men on the moon back in 1969 all the way to 1972 and never has done it since. And again, including this mission as well. Nonetheless, let's get right into it with this phony fake garbage that NASA is peddling. And obviously you see the date here, April 1st. Of course, April Fool's Day. Fooling the public when it comes down to, and always coded Artemis 2, as you see here, in numerology, is 33. And one thing I find interesting too, regarding this April Fool's Day so-called moon mission launch, the first time the so-called globe Earth has ever been televised with the so-called picture from space was on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 1960. Again, they've been doing this forever, fooling the public, playing with the public like they're children, and always with the occultic side with Artemis itself. The name is based on the Greek goddess, as you see here, Artemis, and her association with the moon itself and her twin brother, as you see here, Apollo, and the obvious connection with the Apollo missions. These two were the offspring of Zeus and Leto, and of course the duality aspect of the sun and the moon when it comes to these two individuals and these so-called space missions by NASA. And before showing the footage from the so-called Artemis 2 mission, I definitely want to break down the occultic side. As you see here, Buzz Aldrin doing the all-seeing eye symbol, the 666 hand sign. And you see all the bracelets on his hand. Take a look here. Buzz Aldrin, and with very famous 33rd degree Freemason, Luther Smith, a Grand Sovereign Commander, as I showed many times, as you see here in the dual 33s. And more the same with these astronauts. Just take a listen here. As you see here, Edgar Mitchell, during this interview with Bart Sibrel with Astronauts Gone Wild. Very important to point out, the number 33, as always, take a listen to what is said here. When Bart Sibrel asked the question, what powered the lunar module?
What powered the air batteries? You had a number of big batteries in the lunar module. They powered pumps, they powered the air conditioning, they powered the communication system, and that's the reason we were only able to stay on the moon 33 hours.
So the number 33, people that deny the undeniable once again when it comes to number 33, and these occultists, as you see here from the Washington Post, talking about Shepard and Mr. Mitchell spending 33 hours on the moon, that record number supposedly that was spent on the moon during their so-called lunar missions, and also 9 hours on the outside of the lunar module. This is very relevant. The number 33, this is all regarding the 1/3 or 33% of the fallen angels, and the number 9. This is Satan's number, mentioned by Anton LaVey in his writings, as I covered previously. I'll get more of this, so people will see this is not a coincidence with the 33 and the number 9. I'll be showing this in a little bit later during this presentation. And here you see another article when Edgar Mitchell, they say, passed away. And again, mentioning 33 men spending a record 33 hours on the moon's surface. And of course, astronaut being 33 numerology. And astro, of course, meaning star. And this is Chaldean numerology. The Chaldeans were the first astronomers, and they knew exactly what the stars were. They're not distant suns. They knew they were divine beings. They were the fallen ones that they worshipped. And this is the truth they're trying to hide from the general public when it comes down to it. And obviously, runway number 33 at the Kennedy Space Center. Kennedy being 33 numerology as well. And besides the obvious 33 painted on the runway, you see the three dashes for your 33, your dual 33 in plain sight. And also, this being the only runway at the Kennedy Space Center, the other end is the number 15. So you have your 33 and 15. I mentioned this before in my previous video and in past videos going years back. The number 15 is the sign of the cross with the Germanic runic wheel. So again, these are occultists behind all this. Everything is by design, just like you see here with the so-called Artemis 2 moon mission. Take a look here as you see him point towards space. But take a look what he's wearing here. The color orange. Of course, orange being 33 numerology. And also hidden 33 in plain sight. With this patch being gold and blue, as I mentioned in previous videos. Gold and blue being 33 numerology in Chaldean and Pythagorean. We can't forget about one thing here. The NASA logo itself. And this is a forked tongue. This is the tongue of a serpent. As you see here, the people really have to understand symbolism. I should also mention as well, this is a chevron. Chevron is 33 numerology as well. Now we'll get to the footage itself coming up. Before doing that, I want to show this clip with this one so-called astronaut. As you see here, NASA Artemis 2 Commander Reed Wiseman, like he's some smart guy, Wiseman, as they put this actor, never has been in space, just like none of the other previous so-called astronauts. They're just Freemasonic actors. That's all they are. And let's take a listen to this clip here. Very interesting for a so-called wise man. Take a listen to what he says here.
This is the first time we're going to send humans to the moon, and we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit. That is awesome.
He states this is the first time they're going to send humans to the moon and low Earth orbit. What is this ridiculousness, what he's speaking here? Throughout history, of course, back in 1969 to 72, they supposedly landed the moon. So he says the first time they're going to send humans to the moon. And this is flat out mockery. They've done this before. It's not the first time. But here is the actual so-called launch, getting into the topic with Artemis 2. Take a listen to this individual here, working for NASA, and as always coded.
Coming up at T-minus 33 seconds.
Coming up at T-minus 33 seconds as they're counting down to the launch.
Control shifts from the ground launch sequencer to the rocket's onboard autonomous launch.
So, very important to point out here. What numbers do you see here? As I mentioned earlier, the number 9 and 33. Let's go back. This is not by chance or coincidence. They're putting the 9 and the 33 as we see here. And that gets back, as I shown in this article. Once again, the number 9 is mentioned as far as hours outside the lunar module and 33 hours in the moon. So again, people have to really pay attention. The signs, symbols, dates, numbers, and colors. This is what they're all about. And let's get back to here. Once again to the 933 on screen. People know this when it comes to NASA. They always say T minus. Because with NASA, when you add the T, you get Satan. S-A-T-A-N. So everything is coded once again. Once people understand this, this world is nothing what it seems. Let's get right to it, the actual footage, and I'll break it all down, showing once again they don't go into so-called deep space. There is no deep space. All we have is inner space. Let's get right to it. And first off to start, I'm going to show amateur footage from Titusville, Florida, where it appears the rocket is going straight up into so-called space. But it's all about perspective, and I'll get into that. But again, it appears it's going straight up from this vantage point. I'm going to pause right here and stop right here. You see it coming down to the last part of this video. But it goes out further and more parallel, more horizontal from another angle. I'll get right into it. But definitely, this is not space. It stops here with the rocket. And if people don't understand that this so-called moon mission going to outer space is nothing but smoke and mirrors, I can't help you. Let's continue on here. from a different vantage point from Cocoa Beach, Florida, you're going to clearly see how the so-called space rocket is going to go horizontal to Earth. Basically parallel to the flat world we live on. It's going to be clear. Capture the same, it's the same launch, so there's no mistake about it. You can clearly see it's going to level out, flatten out. And people think this so-called rocket's going to space. Give me a break. This is nothing more than an expensive firework. And there you see the detach of the two booster rockets, and the Artemis 2 itself disappears. But again, this is not going into space. I stated many times over the years, this is why they launch off the coast of Florida, off Titusville, at Cape Canaveral, of course, CC for 33. And with all these so-called space missions, all they do is, with these rockets, they just dump into the Bermuda Triangle. This is why they created this bad stigma with the Bermuda Triangle, with ships and planes disappearing. So people, based on fear, do not explore too much in this area. So this is why things are happening. Obviously, the triangle itself, like a pyramid, so there's always the occultic aspect when it comes down to it. Of course, with the pyramid or a triangle, the inner angle is 60 degrees. In numerology, the zeros mean nothing, so you get your 666 in plain sight. But now let's take a look here at the official footage, once again from CBS. And of course, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer here. You have a live, in reverse, of course, is evil. But I want to touch upon here, of course, the orange rocket itself. And again, that 933, the 33 coded when it comes to the fallen ones, the fallen angels. And of course, 9, Satan's number once again. Let's get right to it with this so-called space mission once again, going to the moon. And this is a long clip. It's about 8 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play as much that is relevant to be shown for the sake of this video. Here's the so-called rocket launch, and it's going to go black. It's going to go dark. And there you go. Black screen. Why is that? Just like SpaceX, the same thing. And why don't we ever see the so-called astronauts inside the Artemis capsule during takeoff? We never get that video footage. Why? There's nobody in here. Again, this rocket just dumps into the Bermuda Triangle without a shot of a doubt. And again, depending on your perspective, your angle, it's going to appear the rocket's going to go straight up, but it's going to level out. Even with this footage from CBS, you're going to see this level out and definitely not go into so-called deep space. There's no deep space. We have a firmament above us and heavens above. And this is, again, you see the rocket leveling off. And they always like to do these cuts. There's never continuous footage. No one has ever seen a so-called space vehicle go into space and never so-called return from space. And there you see it leveling off, just like that footage from Cocoa Beach, Florida, where it's basically horizontal, flying parallel to this world we live in, this flat world we live in. And there you go. It's flattened out. Now it's coming down. Clearly. And you're going to see that separation with the rockets. And then you're going to see the Artemis capsule itself. But definitely coming down. This is not going into deep space. Even a child can see this. But grown adults, they're completely mind controlled. Their minds don't even belong to them. They can't see the truth for what it is. And there you go. It's calming down. That's not going into so-called deep space. And look how they cut away during the rocket separation. You don't get it captured. Oh, now we see it. But again, there is the Artemis itself, the two rocket boosters. but it's coming down once again to the Bermuda Triangle. And of course, these cuts away, nothing but CGI, because it's coming down. It's not going up. It's an easy way to know that footage is not real.
45 seconds of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. Thrusters on integrity and upper stage confirmed in a ready state ahead of service module fairing separation.
There you go. Nothing but smoke and mirrors once again. Just like all past missions and all future missions. Nothing but smoke and mirrors. And we're going to get into the topic of the flat earth. It's going to be mentioned by, within the CBS studio, they're going to mention the flat earth. But you see, definitely not going to space. Let's get right to it. And I'll play the audio portion with CBS talking about or mentioning the flat earth. And take a listen to what is stated here once again by CBS. And within the studio itself with the commentator mentioning flat earth.
That's an amazing detail. It's an amazing detail. You know, I remember in 1969 when CBS covered the moon launch. The day after, this was in a documentary recently, the Flat Earth Society of the UK reconsidered their position.
And of course, the Flat Earth Society is nothing but a government-sponsored, controlled opposition group. They're not real flat earthers. They're made to put out some truth about flat earth, obviously, but they put out disinformation as they have done over the decades, claiming Earth is a disk moving up in space, and that is so-called gravity. And that's not the case at all. So again, they're controlling both sides of each debate, but definitely this rocket and the boosters themselves are ending up in the Bermuda Triangle. And this video footage from CBS, you're going to see nothing but animation from so-called outer space. You think that this is science? Is this real? Of course it's not real. But this is all you need to show the general public is a fake garbage CGI rocket in so-called space. And they fall for a hook, line, and sinker. What a complete joke this is. Give me a break. And speaking about animation, take a look here from this clip with Conan O'Brien with Buzz Aldrin from the year 2000. And this is the concept of duality that you're going to see taking place. Hot and cold, black and white, truth and lies. They must give the truth with all the lies. If not, they're not working off the foundation of Freemasonry. Let's get right to it with this interview once again with Buzz Aldrin. And he gives the truth with all the lies that are spoken about the moon landing so-called being real from 1969. Let's get to it.
I remember my parents waking me up and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
You watched animation. That sounds familiar, just like we saw here, just from a couple days ago. Nothing but animation. But again, this is all you need to show the general public to fall for hook, line, and sinker. Now let's get to this clip from a few years ago with Buzz Aldrin being interviewed by this 8-year-old girl and the truth being revealed. Of course, you see the orange book for 33. Let's take a listen to what is said here for those that have not seen this clip.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
We didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And before saying those words, Buzz Aldrin puts his hand on his chest as it pains him to speak the truth, to tell the truth. He couldn't lie to this young girl to her face. It's easy to lie to a camera, but the truth is always revealed in the end. And people that believe in the nonsense garbage moon landing, there's nothing you can show, there's nothing you can prove. The only evidence they'll accept is the evidence that supports what they believe. and what they believe is lies. And that gets back to this clip that I played earlier as well with this astronaut actor. And let's play this clip, and I'll continue on with another astronaut.
This is the first time we're going to send humans to the moon, and we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit. That is awesome.
Now let's play this clip by fellow astronaut Don Pettit, who I call the head of mockery with NASA, and what he says regarding going back to the moon. Take a listen.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
In no time in human history does technology work backwards. This is absolutely ridiculous how Don Pettit claims they destroyed the technology to go to the moon, and it's so-called a painful process to build it back again. This is absolutely ridiculous, and I feel sorry for the grown adults that are nothing more than merely children that believe whatever they're told by the mainstream media, so-called mainstream science. They don't have a mind of their own, completely indoctrinated in this lie system. And that gets into another form of duality here with Michikaku stating flatly, pun intended, that gravity does not exist, that we lied to you. Let's take a listen.
You sitting in your chair today? Does gravity pull you to the floor? No. There is no such thing as gravitational pull. We lied to you.
So again, the truth must be revealed. With all the lies, they must give us a fragment of truth. Once again, if they don't, they're no longer working off the principle of duality. Let's continue on here with more truth being revealed by Michikaku.
First of all, we are born scientists. When we're born, we wonder what's out there. We begin to wonder about the sun, life, the stars, what makes the oceans, the weather. We're born scientists. And then something happens. When we hit the danger years of junior high school and high school, that's when it's literally crushed out of us.
Those are the worst.
Every little flower of curiosity, said Einstein, is crushed by society itself. Because we have to learn all these facts, figures, memorization, we think that memorization is science. And that's not true at all. In science, we always say that you make observations, you have a theory, you go make more observations, and it's a very, very tedious process. Wrong. Nobody that I know of in my field uses the so-called scientific method. In our field, it's by the seat of your pants. It's leaps of logic. It's guesswork.
So again, the truth revealed, and I have to really emphasize what Michikaku states here, that there is no gravity. We lied to you. Gravity is required to make the globe work. If there's no gravity, obviously, water can't stick to the bottom of a ball. So basically, he's exposing the globe. Even though he'll never come out and say the earth is flat, he'll constantly say we live on a globe, but he's also giving us a truth nugget in plain sight for people to figure out. And definitely this world is not as advertised, and people need to understand that. But again, to conclude this presentation, the truth is always revealed, and the truth is always in plain sight for those that have discernment and have eyes to see.
Through your career and your writing and your acting, you've inspired so many people to enter the sciences. How do you balance science with science fiction?
They're both the same. The mystery of science fiction is what I'm talking about. Science and science fiction are essentially the same.
Thank you very much.
How do you prove a black hole? How do you know those gravitational waves proved the collision of two black holes?
Somehow, eventually, they are able to observe phenomena.
No, they can't observe. It's too far away. It's too theoretical. How do we know what they're saying is true? You know what it really is? It's all science fiction.
It's just my job 5 days a week. A rocket man. A rocket man. I can hear machinery blinding me with science. science. It's poetry in motion.
Space, the final frontier.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Mission Control, I've got some news for you. It's gonna shock you, so you better sit down. Listen very carefully. The Earth is flat, gentlemen.
When I was talking with the gentleman from Belcom, and we were discussing the lie, everything he was telling me was different from what we were being told was the truth. And at one point I asked him, I said, man, you guys, you lied about a lot, didn't you? And instantly he said, no, we didn't lie about certain things, we lied about everything. I really don't think people realize how deep the lie goes.
You look like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
See the hair? See the hair?
The earth was flat. If you went too far, you would fall off. Now the earth is round. If the shape change again, everybody would have start laugh. The average man can't prove up most of the things that he chooses to speak of. And still go research and find out the root of the truth that you seek of. Scholars teach in universities and claim that they're smart and cunning.
The law of gravity was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton in 1687. That's almost 200 years ago, Uncle Evan.
But there is only one law. The law of God.
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
Wow.
No, here's the difference. We can describe gravity. Okay. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know.
What is gravity? Stunned silence.
Any order?
No, just jump in, please.
I wish we really knew. So, I mean, we can, certainly, it's easy enough to describe properties of gravity. It's easy enough to describe theories of gravity. We've had two marvelous theories. But what is, for somebody like me, raises the question marks and not the answers that we already know. So in a deep sense, we don't think we know the answer to that.
No, there is no such thing as gravitational pull. We lied to you.
John chapter 9, verse 25. Whereas once I was blind, now I can see. Now I can see.